breakfast of the Always Believe House. Oh, today we're going to have F-U-N, fun. So we're about to do Star Review number 7. Mr. Toopsy puts the fun in functions. Oh, so a magical whiteboard appears. Let's start rocking and rolling on these problems and have fun. Okay, really quickly on the first few problems, we're going to graph these. Remember your slope man? Let's see, we have a plus and minus I, a U for the nose and circles, and a positive line goes up, a negative line goes down, an undefined line is vertical, and the zero slope connects the mouth. Remember, you can also use Hoy and Vux, right? Horizontal, zero slope, Y equal. Vertical, Vux is vertical, undefined, X equal. So right here we have a Y equal. That's going to be a Hoy line. So we have 0, and it's going to be horizontal. So it's going to go through the Y-axis at 4, be horizontal, and have a slope of 0, right? Going to number 2, we have X equal. That's going to be a Vux because it's X equal, right? So our slope is going to be undefined. It's going to be a vertical line because we're using Vux, and it's going to go through the X-axis at 2. F-U-N, fun. Let's go to number 3. The slope is right here. It's going to be -1/2, so this line will go down on it. The y-intercept is 2, and our 0 eventually will be the x-intercept. We're going to try to locate the x-intercept. Okay, so really quickly, we're going to start with the y-intercept. That's like the starting amount or the starting number. So we start at 2, and our line, our slope triangle will go down 1 over 2. So down 1 over 2, I'm going to get right here. Then I'm going to keep repeating that pattern. So down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. Then going backwards would be up and left. So up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, and I got a vertical or a line that slopes down on it. So I'm going to connect the dots. And right here is my 0 in it. That's the x-intercept. The x-intercept is the 0 of the function. So my x-intercept or my 0 is going to be 4. Now then remember, these will graph a triangle. So I'm going to dot my lines. The bottom of actually the base is going to be right here. So this is our base, and this right here would be our height because it's going up and down. So our height is 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our base is 6 in it. So we have a base of 6 and a height of 3. The area is going to be 1/2 times 6 times 3, which is going to 18 times a half. Half of 18 is 9, right? 9 units squared. In geometry, you'll use units squared here, okay? And then we're going to keep going on. Fun. Do the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We're going to do 6 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. 6 times 6 is 36. 3 times 3 is 9. 36 plus 9 is 45. And we need to get the square root of 45. So we're going to go to our calculator, and we're going to hit Control X squared 45. Hit enter. We got 6.7. So the length of the hypotenuse is about 6 7/10 units. So our hypotenuse is about 6.7. And on this one, we want the intersection of 1 and 3. So line 1 is the red one, and line 3 is the blue one. They intersect right here. That's going to be what, -4, 4? So I went left 4, up 4 to get to that intersection. That's what our next unit will be about. We'll be finding the intersection of the two lines. That was F-U-N, fun. Let's keep the fun going, and let's go to number 8. Y'all are doing wonderful with these. Keep drawing these. On this one right here, we're going to draw squares, okay? I should be putting this on here, but a big square is x squared, a rectangle is x, and a little square is a unit of 1 in it. Okay, so we have 2x squared. We're going to have 2 big squares. Then we have 3 shaded rectangles, and just squiggle them in, and then 2 open squares. Then I'm going to put the next unit below it. I got 1 open square, 2 shaded rectangles, and then 5 shaded squares. Notice this does not have to be perfectly accurate, does it? Now then, we're going to group and cross out. So right here we have 3 big squares, don't we? That's going to turn into 3x squared. Then look at the rectangles. They're all shaded, aren't they? We have 5 shaded rectangles. -3 minus 2 is a -5x. And then look at the squares we need to cross out. We have 2 0 pairs. So we have -3 left. So 3x squared minus 5x minus 3 is that sum. Ho, 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 ho. The next 3 we're going to multiply. So we're going to take 2, which is 2 squares, and we're going to multiply it by 3 rectangles and 2 shaded squares. Remember, the answer to a multiply problem is a rectangle, so draw your answer rectangle, and then you're going to slice it up. And then remember, a negative times a positive is a negative, so these are all negative. And squiggle them in so you can still see the number of pieces. The number of pieces in the answer rectangle will be your answer. So we have 6 rectangles, which is 6x, and we have 4 shaded squares, which is -4. If we were to bluebell truck and distribute 2, 2 times 3x is 6x, 2 times -2 is -4. Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Let's keep going. Jiminy crickets. Go to number 10. Okay, on number 10. Sorry about that. On number 10, making sure I'm still recording here. On number 10, we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply x, a rectangle, and 4 squares. And then x plus 2, so a rectangle and 2 squares. Then I'm going to draw my answer rectangle, and then I'm going to slice it up. Really helps if you have colored pencils with this. And then we're going to slice down. Thankfully, these are all positive, so we're not going to shade in anything. The number of spaces or the number of shapes will be our answer. So we have a big X squared. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangles. And then we have 8 open squares. So x squared plus 6x plus 8. Ho, 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 ho. Number 11, the fun continues. We're going to do x minus 3. So we got 3 squares and they're shaded. And then x minus 3. So we got 3 squares and they're shaded. Then we're going to draw our answer rectangle. Slice it up. Every time the squares touch or rectangles touch, you slice. And then we're going to have to shade on this. Okay, so when we shade a negative times a positive is a negative times a negative is a positive. So right here, a negative times a positive, these are going to be negative. A negative times a positive, these will be negative. But the squares, a negative times a negative, will be positive on it. The squares will stay open. The answer will be the number of shapes. So we have a big X squared. We have 6 shaded rectangles. And then we have 9 open squares. This is a product. This is a perfect square, okay? You'll learn about that when we actually start doing this in January. Y'all are doing wonderful with this. Y'all are way ahead of the game. Keep doing these, showing the shapes. You're going to do wonderful. Number 12, don't forget how to do this. We're going to graph this. Then after you graph it, since these are integers, we're going to hit Control-T and make a table. So we're going to graph it and hit Control-T, x squared plus 3x minus 10. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to hit Home. I'm going to hit B to graph. And then I'm going to do x squared minus 3x plus 10. Ho, 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 ho. And make sure that's right. X squared plus 3x minus 10. I think that's what I type in. X squared plus minus 3x plus 10. Is that right again? It should be x squared plus 3x minus 10. So I did this backwards. So this should be a minus. Always check, because if you don't put it in right, it won't work. So x squared plus 3x minus 10. X squared plus 3x minus 10. Hit enter. Ho, 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 ho. Now then we're going to hit Control-T and get our answers. So when we hit Control-T, the left column, the X column is our domain. The right column is a range. I'm going to click up once to get to the 0. So the 0 right here, that's actually the starting amount in it. We're starting off at -10, And then we're going to go negative 10, negative 6, 0, 8, and 18. Those are the numbers we want. Okay, so I'm going to go to my paper, negative 10, negative 6, 0, was it 8 and 18? 8 and 18. 8 and 18. And one of the most important numbers right here, if you input 2, you output 0. So the ordered pair, 2 comma 0, would be an x-intercept, and that's called a 0 of the function. So the domain that is a 0 is the 2. That's one of them. Continuing on, number 13. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. When we do this problem here, you want to solve this for y equal x and a number. The coefficient of x is the slope. The coefficient of x, the number in front of the x, is the slope when you solve these for y. So right here, this right here is our slope. That means the line will go down 5, right 2, down 5, right 2. Now then on this one, we need to solve for y. So we're going to move the x over. And notice what happens when I move this 3 over. It becomes negative, right? Then I'm going to divide by 4, and this right here is my slope. It's always these two numbers. It's actually going to be negative a over b if this is ax plus by equals c. We'll study this week. This is standard form. So the a and the b form the slope, but you got to switch the sign. So the slope right here is going to be negative 3 over 4. Let's put negative a over b here. So my a is 5, and I need a negative, and my b is negative 2. 2 negatives is going to be a positive, right? Our slope should end up being 5 over 2. Let's do the math. I'm going to move the x over, and it's going to change to negative 5x, and then plus 4, and then I'm going to divide by negative 2. Notice right here I have 2 negatives. 2 negatives makes a positive, so just like that formula said, the negative a over b, we're going to have negative 5 over negative 2. 2 negatives makes a positive. The slope's going to be 5 over 2. You will get the hang of this. It's really important though. This number and this number, this number and this number form the slope. Those two numbers give you the slope when it's in standard. Continuing on, I want you to do this in a table. I'm going to do one of them in a table, one of them by hand. So let's do a table with 2, 8, and 28. So I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to click 1 for New. I'm not going to save anything. I want a spreadsheet. I need to put my X and Y at the top. Don't ever forget that. Mr. Toops, why don't this work? Because you didn't put X and Y at the top. Now then, we need our number. So our numbers are 2, 8, and 28. So 2, 8, and 28. And then I'm going to put the next set in. Sorry about that. Wrong one. Which is 4.2, 9.3, and 26.3. 4.2, 9.3, 4.2, 9.3, and I think it was 26.3. So 26.3. Okay, so I have my X's and Y's in the spreadsheet. The blue rectangle has to be in an empty spot or it won't work, and it can't have a cursor showing in it. Now the menu 413, X down, Y down, enter. Menu 413, X down, Y down, enter. So let's go through this menu. We're going to run a stat calculation 4, stat calculation 1. The linear regression we want is 3, mx plus b. Then it's X down, Y down, enter. So X down, Y down, enter. And right here. So my slope is 0.85. The b is 2.5, which would be the starting amount, right? So 0.85 is my slope. Since this deals with money, I'm going to leave it as a decimal. So this would be $0.85 per gizzard. And something you want to do on this underline function of get your y and x. So my y is dollars and my x is gizzards, right? Y is a function of x. I should have done that before I did the table. Okay, so the slope of the line is 0.85, and it represents, it takes $0.85 or 85 cents to buy 1 gizzard. That's what the constant rate of change of that slope is. On this one here, at the same time, I'm going to do it by hand. So I'm going to subtract these two, and that would be 7.1, and then I'm going to subtract these, and this would be 11, and then I need to divide this. I hope my math is right on that. So 7.1 divided by 11. So I'm going to go to home and A. 7.1 divided by 11, and I get 0.64. That's going to be 0.64 cents, 0.64 gizzard, or dollars, right? So 0.64, and it's 0.64 dollars per gizzard, or per liver. This one's a liver. I might have messed up on the math on that. Okay, so right here, remember, function of y, x, so our x is here and our y is here in it. I should have done that first. Okay, so you get, this is right here, the difference of y, this is your difference in x, so if you do 7.1 divided by 11, that's where the 6.4 comes from. Make sure you're doing this in a table though. If you do it in a table, you won't mess up. Let's turn the page! These are probably the most important problems you are doing this fall. You got to get this down. Remember up here, we're going to write down y equals gx plus s. That's how you go from a verbal description to an equation. This turns into your mx plus b. So right here, the $20, she's given $20 and she spends $5 each day. This is what she starts with. This is what she's going to grow, or she's actually spending her money. So this will be a -5 on it. And this is your starting number. Okay, so this right here is going to be my slope, -5, and it means that she spends $5. Remember, she spends $5 each what day? This is my y, this is my x. So $5 per day. So this is good. Her money's going to go down, right? Now then, let's go over here. The y-intercept is what she starts off with, the starting amount. It's 20. On your STAR test, they're going to say the initial amount. So it's the initial amount of money. So we're going to go over here to the y-axis. Our y is money, and we're going to put a dot. We're going to put 20. Now then, the x-intercept, we got to divide how many, if you divide the starting number by the growing number, how many growing numbers are in the starting number? So if we do 20 divided by 5, we're going to get 4, aren't we? Actually, it's 20 divided by -4. You get -5. You got to flip the sign. You got 4 times that she can spend $5, right? So the x-intercept's 4, and 4 days she's going to run out of money, right? 4 days equals $0. So she runs out of money in 4 days. So let's go to here and put a dot at the 4. And this right here would be 4, 0, right? Now then, she is not going to constantly spend her money. So if you read this, it's a discrete function. So we will not connect the dots. So right here, this will be 1 day. After 1 day, she's going to have $15. After 2 days, she's going to have $10. And then right here, after 3 days, she's going to have $5. And at 4 days, she'll have what? $0. And this order pair right here would be 0, 20, right? At 0 days, she has $20. So this right here would turn into our domain and range, wouldn't it? I'm going to go to 21 next. X is the number of days. Remember, our order pairs at 0 days, she has $20. At 1 day, she has 15. She just keeps spending $5. And at 4 days, she runs out of money. That's the 0 of the function because she hits the x-axis. The domain of the graph is going to be these numbers, right? The domain of the graph is the number of days, and it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The range is the amount of money. And remember, you put it smallest to biggest, so we're going to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's our domain and range of this. We would not connect the dots because she's never going to have like $18.23. She's spending $5 each day. Ho, 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 ho. Continuing on. Number 19. Fun, fun, fun. On these problems here, you need to do menu 3-1. You're going to do insolve, aren't you? You cannot forget how to do insolve. You're going to put the answer to insolve right here, show your work, and make sure you can do it. I'm not going to do insolve. Don't forget how to do it. I'm going to bluebell track my 3 to get rid of the parentheses. 12x plus 30 equals 5x plus 16. Trying to keep these numbers small for you. All the x's have got to go to the left. So we're going to move our x to the left. 12x minus 5x is 7x plus 30 equals 6. And then since the rectangles are to the left, The squares have got to go to the right. So the opposite of plus 30 is minus 30. I'm going to get 7x. Did I do this right? 12x plus 30, 5x. Oh, this should be a 16 right here. So this is 16. This is going to be, 7x equals negative 14. And then I'm going to divide by 7, and I'm going to get x equals negative 2. You should have got negative 2 for insolve. Continuing on, this is a proportion. When you have a proportion, you're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to take the 2x plus 6, and I got to multiply all that by 9. Then I'm going to take the 12 and multiply that by 15. So I got to do some multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 9. If you can't do this, use the calculator. 9 times 2 is 18x. 9 times 6 is 54. 12 times 15 is 180. Now then, all the rectangles are on the left, so all the squares have got to go to the right. The constants have got to get grouped. So I'm going to combine them. I'm going to get 18x equals 180 minus 54 is 126. And then divide by 18. Ho, 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 ho. And that's going to turn into 7. So x is going to be 7 on this one. You should have got 7 from insolve. Continuing on, number 20. Okay, right here, make a T-chart. So we're going to put x and y, negative 4, negative 9, 12 and 3. We want to find the slope. Okay? So we're going to find the slope, and then, or actually we're just going to write the mx plus b. If we put this in the table, we get the m and the b. Okay, so we're going to go to our table. So we're going to hit home. We're going to hit 1 for new. We're not going to save anything. We're going to create a spreadsheet. We're going to put x and y at the top. Not x, y. Now then, my x's are negative 4, 12. So negative 4 and 12. And my y's are negative 9 and 3. So negative 9 and 3. Now then, menu 4, 1, 3, right? X down, Y down, enter. You got to remember how to do this. Menu 4, 1, 3, X down, Y down, enter, and bam, right here, here we go. So the slope is 0.75, the y-intercept's negative 6. Now then, I got to switch 0.75 to a fraction. So I'm going to copy it, Control-C, hit home, hit A to calculate, Control-V, and then menu 2 to enter. Ho, 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 ho. And my B was negative 6, agree? So home, browse, let's save. Yeah, so my B was negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to go to my paper. My slope was 3/4, and my B was negative 6. So minus 6. So that line goes through those 2 points. Piece of cake. Now then right here, we're going to put y equals mx plus b, and we know our x, our y, and our b, don't we? So we're going to, I'm sorry, this is our m. This is our slope. So we're going to plug these in and do insolve. So our y is negative 7, our slope is 3/4, times our x is 4 plus b. You're going to put this into insolve and solve for b. I'm going to do it by brain. This is 3, move the 3 over. B is going to end up being negative 10. Okay, so we're going to have y equals, our slope is 3/4 x, and our b is negative 10. So if I were to put 4 in here, I would get negative 7 as the answer. Ho, 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 ho. So this right here is the equation of the line with the slope of 3/4 that goes to the ordered pair for negative 7. Let's do the next one. We're going to put x, y, and m. Then we're going to write y equals mx plus b. You got to remember what to do and when, okay? On this first one, we're given 2 points. We're going to make a table. The next one, we have the slope and the point, so we're going to just plug it in. So my y is 3. My m is negative 1/2 times 4 plus b. You're going to put this into insolve and just solve it for b. You got to use the calculator. I'm going to do it in my brain. So negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. Move that over and you're going to get b equals 5. Okay? So our equation is going to be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. If I were to put 4 in there, negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. So if I input 4, I would output 3. This is the equation of the line with the slope of negative 1/2 that goes through 4, 3. Ho, 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 ho. We're almost over in this. Sad. Oh, wish we had more problems. We're almost out of Oreos. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Jimmy John is having to get an oil change for his pickup truck. A 2-quart bottle of oil costs $7. If the truck needs 5 quarts of oil, if the cost of oil directly varies, that means it's proportional. In Algebra 1, they usually won't say proportional, it'll say directly varies. Now they look at what we have here. We have quarts and we have dollars. So I'm going to put quarts over dollars, and I'm going to make a proportion. So our first fraction is going to have 2 quarts, cost $7. We need 5 quarts. We don't know how much money that is. So let's just put that as x. We're going to cross multiply and solve this. So 2 times x is 2x. 7 times 5 is 35. Divided by 2, you're going to get x equals 17.5. So it costs $17.50 for all the oil. Another way to do this, which is how they want you to do this in Algebra 1, is you're going to take the 7 and divide it by 2 and get $3.5 per quart. And then you would take 3.5 and multiply that by 5, and you would get the 17.5. Some of y'all may like doing it that way. This 3.5 is called the constant of variation, or the constant of proportionality, okay? Which is a big number in Algebra 1. Let's go to number 23. Bubba Bob has a job at Silsbee Septic. Oh, life is good. He gets paid $80 each week plus $12 an hour. He's racking in the cash. The function rule can be used, 12x plus 80. Remember, this right here is the slope, and this is his starting amount, right? So every week he starts off with $80, and then his dollars grow by $12 every hour he works. What would the slope of this function be? The slope of this function is 12, and it represents $12 per hour. Right here, $12 per hour. Y per x, right? That will be by your growing number every time. The y and the x will be there. The y-intercept is his starting amount, right? And that's $80. And that's the initial amount. Each week is $80, right? On the STAR test, they will use initial. The initial amount of money is $80. So every week he starts off with $80. Let's go to 24. You just learned this week. It's very tricky, but we're going to write down Hoyer bucks. Line P is parallel to the x-axis. So if it's parallel to the x-axis, it's going to be flatted. If it's flat, we're going to write down Hoy. So that means we got 0 slope and we got a y equal line. Put x and y by your slope. The y is 3-ended. So it's going to go through the y at 3, and notice it never crosses x, does it? So the equation is going to be y equals 3, and since it's Hoy, it has a 0 slope. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. I hope you have enjoyed this. Keep doing these star reviews. This is the most important thing you're doing each week. This is really, if you could start doing these by yourself, you're going to be a lot better algebra student. Oh, what a wonderful time with you. I hope you've enjoyed this. Enjoy your 17 seconds of Zen at the end. And remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things. And you are awesome.